skirts come out of the package, on my throwback jig, the skirts are long on it. And we leave the skirt long on purpose because this way you can modify the skirt length based upon your trailer length. Sometimes you want a trailer that is longer, so you want the jig skirt to be able to cover up about half of the body there. And sometimes if you thread the trailer on, you want it shorter. So let me give you sort of a prime example of what I'm talking about. If you hang a jig skirt just like that by leaving the skirt long, you know it's longer. But say for example, and I don't thread the chunks, but I'm just gonna do it for the sake of the video. Let's say you thread this on like you're using a super chunk or something. I just don't have one with me here. The jig is going to be a shorter profile, so sometimes you need to trim the skirt back. So let me give you some tips and advice on how to trim a jig skirt. First of all, even with a full-size jig skirt like this, you want to take a pair of scissors, and even if you don't want to cut off much of the length, you want to make, excuse me, you want to make the strands uneven a little bit. So come in there and cut off a few of them where you got some wild looking strands. See those strands right there? That's what you want, is you want it to be uneven. And then if you want a really short skirt, you know, you can cut it off flat along the bottom like that, and then come into and you know, make it crazy looking after you've taken some of the length off there. And this way you got a smaller profile, and if you're threading a trailer on there, or if you're using a shorter trailer, it can be seen on there, and your overall size of the jig skirt and jig profile is going to be different. Now, some of the times that I do like a shorter profile is, say for example, the fishing is a little bit tougher, if I want to use a smaller trailer, if the water's a little bit clearer, and if I want to use a full-size trailer, a lot of times it's going to be because the you know, water's dirtier, or fish are a little bit more aggressive and they want a little bit bigger bait. Okay, now on top of that, let's talk about the trailer itself. Anytime that you're using a trailer, like this is a Zoom Big Salty Chunk, one of my favorites, you want to take some of the plastic off the front here. So I'm going to take it and I'm going to cut it like that. And see what this does is, see the amount of plastic that you have right there? This is going to make it where when you hook your hook on there, you just barely got a piece of plastic around the pork like that. And what this does is it takes some of that plastic mass away from the hook, which a lot of times that plastic will impede a hook set. It gives it a lot more of a bite gap there. Plus you got more freedom of movement on the jig skirt, you know, when you have less plastic